Welcome to Cultural Fluency Makers. I'm your host, David Wellish. Each week, we welcome leaders to share how they stay ahead of the ever-changing consumer landscape. With today's cultural transformation, top brands need to understand diverse consumer segments from Gen Z, Hispanic, and LGBTQ+ to gamers, wine enthusiasts, and basketball fanatics in Iowa. Their marketing strategies require them to keep the pulse on their consumers, but also their brand in the category to continue to grow revenue for the long term. Cultural Fluency Makers is sponsored by Collage Group, the only cultural intelligence engine that provides brand and consumer insights on the why that drives consumer behavior and purchase decisions. Let's get started. On this Friday afternoon, I'm so excited for this episode, and I know it's going to be a very dynamic and really interesting conversation. With me today is a marketing leader who knows how to build brands that last and how to evolve them for what's next. I've been looking forward to this discussion because his work sits at the intersection of storytelling, strategy, and cultural relevance. And he has had a direct hand in shaping brands that people genuinely recognize and trust. He's a brand builder and a marketing strategist. He's someone who understands how to modernize legacy brands while honoring what made them iconic in the first place. He is the CMO of Mutual of Omaha. Keith Clark, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for having me. This is super fun. I love talking about marketing. I don't know if dynamic is an oversell for sure, but we'll have a good time.
All right, let's do this. Let's go deep, Keith. So we'll start with a little bit of combination of cultural intelligence and brand heritage. So you have successfully revitalized Wild Kingdom in just a few years. How do you balance the cultural safety of a legacy brand with the need to be culturally relevant to the millennial audience, Z audience that did not grow up with Marlene Perkins?
We talk about is about bridging. We have this amazing cultural relevance with people probably 55 plus. Those are the folks we hear about the most. You know, when we have focus groups, we always say the over and under is about 15 minutes before folks of a certain age start talking about Marlene Perkins. So this massive spot in people's subconscious about Wild Kingdom, where, we hear, oh, we used to eat on TV trays one day a week and was watching Wild Kingdom, or I remember being able to have a Coke during Wild Kingdom, or just these crazy memories. So this connection is so powerful with that generation. And what we also found in our research is protecting wildlands and wildlife is universal. And so while we don't have that cultural relevance with the younger generation, they are really connecting with our purpose. And so now our job is to reinforce it with those folks that remember it fondly from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then build that bridge to a younger generation that want to believe in purpose, that love the idea that insurance company is using their resources to do more than just, sell things, to really protect the world around us, because we want to make life, better, not just financially, but as we're going through, while you're living and going through life every day.
Keith, what a platform. I mean, as you know, purpose,
It's everything.
authenticity, right? Like Gen Z and the newer generation. And I mean, it's right on. So I think it's a super powerful platform. So when you talk about Mutual of Omaha being a mutual company, which means that you're not really beholden to Wall Street's quarterly dividends. How does that? I'll call it structural freedom. How does that structural freedom allow you to lead with a longer term perspective? Maybe even, I don't know whether cultural empathy would be sort of relevant or not, than your publicly traded competitors.
Yeah, I think it gives us the runway to build a foundation of trust. We don't have to push for the next quarter, the next, the end of the fiscal year, because we're built to be here for the next 100 years. And that's how we think about investments. That's how we think about how we can satisfy our promises that we're making to customers. I mean, we have 20-year, 30-year, lifetime policies. So we need to make sure we're making decisions and being here for the long run. And so that means, when we're delivering content, when we're talking about our company, we are trying to build a foundation of trust and helping people understand that we're about protection and we're here making good decisions for the long term. And so we're pricing it right because we're owned by our customers, not Wall Street, and we make service decisions accordingly too, because we're all in service of our policy owners.
So you've talked about purpose, you've talked about trust, and we're just barely getting started. And those are two such key pillars. How, we, as you know, Collage is a cultural intelligence company, and we know that trust has actually deteriorated significantly in most, from a consumer perspective, in most institutions. Is that hard to build trust? Like, what's it like? How hard is it to build trust?
It's really, really hard to build. It's very easy to lose. And so that's how, we make sure that, you know, we talk about it as a team that, we want to help people understand about life insurance, help people understand about the other insurance products we have, not necessarily to ensure they're buying our product, but they need it. I mean, we believe that you need life insurance. You need to have a financial safety net. It's an important part of anyone's financial plan. And, it's something that I feel very passionate about, having been a child of life insurance. And so, we think about it, hey, very benevolently. We're going to give you content. We're going to educate you. We think we have the best product. It might not be the best for you, but you need this product. And I think that kind of point of view helps build that trust, helps as we go to market. We're going to market with every expert we have in the building to help people make smarter decisions. Because not every product is for everybody, but we know that some sort of protection is super, super important. As you lay out your financial goals, they all stop if the unthinkable happens and you pass away. And so having that level of protection is important. And so when you kind of start with that level of transparency and purpose and honesty, the trust kind of comes along with it. And then prove it over 117 years, so and counting. And so you have that kind of mix, and we steward it as much as we can, because you can lose that trust very, very quickly. And it's something that's super precious to us.
Eloquently said. Um, Keith, most people avoid thinking about mortality. No one likes to talk about, right? If you've shared how your father's life insurance was the bridge that saved your family's future, which is very personal for you, obvious. How do you use that deeply personal insight to move the consumer sentiment from fear of death to really empowerment through protection? How
It's so difficult because of that. We're, you know, every study after study will tell you that Americans in general are underinsured for that, because the the easy message is, oh, just put it in the market, put it in the market, put it in the market, let it grow, and your 401k and investing and that sort of thing, you'll be fine. And it's just, we try to really just talk about it pragmatically. You know, death and taxes. No one gets out alive. It is the circle of life. You name it. I mean, we all kind of intrinsically know we have to prepare for the future. It's giving people the tools and the vocabulary to talk about it in a way that's not as scary. And that's where we think about, building plans, preparing for the future, making sure you're providing when the worst happens. So just trying to give people a reason to think about it, not in the scary terms, but in the hierarchy of needs of safety and security, not for you, but for your family and for the people that you leave behind. And it's easy to say for me. It's really, really hard to do. We've all got a lot of time in our hands. The product isn't made for it. If you get a life insurance product, you have to get blood, you have to give all the fluids. It takes a long time. And so there's a lot of barriers there. But just grounding on the fact that this thing that you do is for not for yourself, but for others. And so if you can translate that as a selfless act, then I think you're getting the consumer a lot closer to easily being able to make that decision.
There's also, it's interesting having, I was born in Latin America, grew up in Ecuador. So I think life insurance is also cultural.
Yes, it is.
There are societies that are, I don't know, they just live today, and they live today, and they don't think about the future. In many ways, I think America is more of a planning society than otherwise. Do you have any insight into that as you think about, like, cultural segments? Or yeah, I don't know whether you guys look into that or not.
It is interesting that you say that because um, we see it along cultural lines and socioeconomic lines. If you're in a certain, socioeconomic situation where rising up and starting to improve your outlook, a lot of people look at life insurance as, hey, I've arrived. I can afford this now, and I can prepare and do this level of planning for my family where previous generations couldn't. And so we do see some of that in some parts of the country. We also see it where when people are coming in from outside, hey, we don't have a family structure like you might have in Latin America that, multiple generations living together, people really watching out for their elders. And it's a different way of approaching senior care. And so that's driving some of those decisions. Um, and I mean, certain products are just really savvy and they provide um, different streams of income tax free. And I think there are certain populations out there that think about investing in money in a different context in a much longer kind of horizon, and then that kind of pops through. So I think the socioeconomic part kind of dominates the research a ton. Um, but we do see it kind of popping up, especially for first generation in the US, thinking about, hey, I have life insurance, I've kind of arrived and I'm making it in my new country.
That's interesting. Yes, because we've done research, and it is a specific cultural trait, uh, sort of the planning trait. Let's talk about marketing a little bit. You've hit a 94% aided awareness level in an era of infinite choice. How are you shifting your strategy from being known, which is the beginning, to being chosen by consumer segments that may be more skeptical of, again, traditional financial institutions, also given the sort of idea of trust erosion potentially?
That is the huge question, because a lot of brands are just spending to get on that radar, so that they're known. So when that decision comes, that they're top of mind. As a mutual company, we kind of don't take that approach. We're thinking about it more in the terms of education and helping people learn about the benefits that we can provide them on top of marketing, our kind of trust attributes plus the products we sell. So when they have that need, it's like, oh, I know Mutual of Omaha. Oh, they sell these products. Okay, we get over that hump, and we're doing it a lot with content. So we're seeing that content, especially really authentic content from experts inside the building, not just one talking head, not just kind of generic AI content, but real content with a point of view, with expertise behind it, is really helping to educate consumers, helping bring them along in the journey. And it turns out it's helping our organic search. It's helping us pop in the large language models. So we really look at education as the foundation for helping people arrive at that decision. So I know you. Let me do a little research. Holy cow, they seem to know what they're talking about. It seems priced right, so let's move forward. And so that helps too, because a lot of our products are sold through a brokerage distribution. So a broker is talking about probably many different brands. And so when someone's doing their research, we're kind of allaying any fears about our brand, highlighting our expertise so it's a little easier for them to pull the trigger when they have that purchase point. So it is that long game again. That content's gonna be out there forever. It's our job to care and feed it and understand what's working, what's not working. And we feel like that's going to be more impactful in the long run than, you know, college football, other big ways to advertise. And we're seeing some really good results that are super efficient. And we feel like using our policyholders' dollars the most effective.
And you keep, I keep hearing the transparency, authenticity, purpose, um, trust. Even when you're talking about marketing, people in the building versus maybe the influencers or the.
Yeah, I mean, we maybe not as polished, but the passion, the expertise is there. I'll take that any day over kind of an influencer or someone outside of the building, right? Because the folks that we're highlighting are building the products. They are the ones, kind of really making it happen internally, and for them to share their insights to people who are going to buy one of their products, I think is really, really powerful. And it is just that idea of authenticity of, you know, someone being in the business, understanding the business and wanting to share that with other people.
It makes a lot of sense. It's a little counter culture, right? Like, because you see the creator economy, exploding, but it makes a lot of sense. Let's talk a little bit about AI. That, that little, those two letter words that are permeating everywhere. So you've described Mutual of Omaha as a fast follower in tech. With your team now deploying Gen AI for sales support and content, where do you draw the line between the efficiency that AI generates and then this human touch that you've talked so much about?
We're drawing the line in marketing very much at that authentic level. So it's great to brainstorm, get some rough drafts, but you have to have the human crafting the message, really kind of uh, getting our unique point of view across, and bringing some humanity to the work. Because I think as you look at the copy and the things that AI is doing, you start to read it like, oh, that was totally AI. People wouldn't talk like that. They're not using those sort of words. They're not putting all that together. And so we're really using it as a jumpstart, or being able to explore ideas at scale, really try some things out. That to me is the big benefit, is you can brainstorm a wide variety of things and just kind of look at different ways in on a problem very, very quickly. But at the end of the day, it is just a starter, and then you have to have a human that kind of crafts the final product so that we're staying on brand and we're staying on um, tone and the messaging and all that sort of thing. Now, the A is getting better all the time, so I could be changing my tune, but right now we've not been able to train an AI that is better than the work that some of our creative teams doing in conjunction with these experts.
Can you see a day where AI is generating the creative?
I hope not. Because I'm old fashioned. Guess. I think having humans involved in this kind of messaging is super, super important. Um, and I think it can do a lot of great things. It can help people be more productive in lots of ways, but I really want to keep the soul of the creative work with people. I think that's where we'll get the best output and where we'll get the best connection, because I'm not sure AI can connect at scale with people.
Well, especially given, once again, the pillars that you've talked about. It almost it's gonna be an interesting challenge as AI evolves, and humanity and human connection, is at the center. How do these things interact? So we'll probably, and things are moving so quickly that we'll probably have a great conversation in 6 months.
And, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a place where, hey, we go all into AI and we're getting super efficient, everyone's happy, but we're not selling anything. everything sounds the same. It's all vanilla. And then you have a breakout, people like, oh, we're doing it old fashioned. We're doing it by hand and we're getting great results. And so likely, I imagine there'll be some sort of bell curve around, hey, we're doing a lot of it. And then it just loses its impactfulness. And then it'll start coming down and even out to a place where it just makes sense.
You've spent 17 years on the agency side before going in-house. Um, Keith, what's the one thing that agency partners consistently get wrong about cultural fluency that you only realize once you went on the other side and became a CMO?
I think agencies are amazing. They play such an important part of the creative process because they bring a different point of view. But I think some agencies miss the internal knowledge and being able to kind of tap into what um, the 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 work that we've done, all the research. There's no way an agency can intimately know all the insights that we've gleaned over decades, right? And from all those years of new business pitches, you try really hard, but it's impossible until you really get into the work. And I think sometimes agencies will discount the learning from an internal organization and discount some of the thinking because they feel like they have to recreate it all. And if they don't recreate it in their own language, then their creative team won't get it. But then that creates a lot more potential friction points between selling creative or selling their ideas because now you've changed language, you've articulated in different ways, and it leaves room for gaps. So my suggestion to agencies would be, don't be super afraid to draft on what your client has done from an insight, from some of the product learning, but then bring your point of view in. And so it's more of a partnership because the ta-da level of creative rarely works well, especially in a highly regulated industry, because it's so hard to get creatives head around all the rules and everything we have to do. So a tighter partnership that is iterative in nature, I think, is more beneficial. Like I said, especially in financial services.
That's great advice. I assume that part of the tension comes from the need to impress.
I think it's don't always try to be a creative partner. You need to be a business partner. If you're just on the creative side, I think you lose some of the depth of being a business partner. And that's where I've seen really amazing thing happen when you have true partnership. Like I think about some of the clients I've been able to work with, like the US Navy. I felt like we had a true partnership with our Navy clients and we created amazing work because of that. Um, and with USAA, the same kind of thing. We really dug in and understood the shared history and the importance of the association, and we were able to do really groundbreaking work for them because I felt like it was a true partnership. We had great clients, we had great ideas, we really moved the business forward. And creative was great too, don't get me wrong, but it started out as the understanding the business and really being connected there, and then the creative comes out of that.
Yeah, that's great. This is our last business question for the session, which is Keith, the company's building a new headquarters in downtown Omaha. What is the cultural signal that you're trying to send to your employees and the industry with this physical uh, investment and signal?
Yeah, great question. And I hear it all the time around town. Um, you know, it is a nod to making sure that when we are coming together as employees, we have the best possible facilities. We have facilities that encourage collaboration, encourage us to come together to really innovate, but also fantastic spaces to do work. It is built really around the idea that the work is happening um, in areas of great light. So it's an open floor plan with the offices in the middle, which is pretty unique. So all the openness is out towards the windows. And so you get this great free flowing light coming through, and it's just very energizing. And it's meant to encourage people to move around, to sit in different places, to collaborate with different people. But we've also built it, the footprint couldn't hold all of our employees if everyone wanted to come to work tomorrow. So we embrace hybrid work because we know that that helps people's work-life balance. And when people have great work-life balance, they can really bring the best to our policy owners, to our other associates. And so, um, from my point of view, it's like, hey, we're going to give you the best possible place to come together when business calls for that. And if it calls for you just putting your head down and getting work done, it's going to be a whole lot better in your basement. It's going to be a whole lot better than, the guest bedroom. We have great light, great facilities. And you'll want to come down there and be a part of something that's amazing. Um, the Omaha, the downtown, the urban core is just exploding. We have great parks, we have great facilities, amazing restaurants. So it is really a nod to investing in our employees and giving them a place they can be proud of and a place they want to come to.
That's great. It's interesting that you guys are making the investment and at the same time not forcing, the 5 day a week deal, which I think in the long run, I think it's powerful.
I mean, because people don't operate that way anymore. And don't get me wrong, I would love it. I come in every day because I choose to do that. Now I'm an empty nester. I live close to the office. I would love to see more people in, but I also really, really appreciate the work product everyone's doing. And it's not predicated on me looking over their shoulder and seeing if they're working. It's predicated on their pride for their work, their pride for the company, their partnership with other associates. So, I try to keep that in mind too. That yes, I'd love to see everyone, but I don't need to see everyone to get their best work.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Great. So, Keith, let's move more on the personal side. In two quick questions before we wrap. What inspires you? What motivates you every day to do what you do?
Because I'm a child of life insurance, it really gets me fired up to know that we're protecting people. We're protecting more families. If I can help, more people avoid financial calamity because of our products, that really, really makes me excited. Because not many people can say that. Not many people can say, I work in a company that's protecting millions of people. And that's what gets me up in the morning. That's what helps push forward. And I think about the Wild Kingdom work. We're extending that to the world around us, right? We're giving a microphone to all those people out there saving species, saving environments, really doing a great job. And all of that gives me a huge sense of pride. And there aren't many companies where you can do this kind of work and feel this good when you go home.
I can feel the purpose. I can feel your purpose. I mean, it's palpable, and so many people look for purpose in
You do what you love and you don't work a day in your life, right? And it's so true.
All right, and for a younger audience who I think needs, I think they need professional advice so much these days. If you could travel back in time and give your 20-year-old self advice, what would that be?
I think I talked about work life balance, really understand what that means. I think, especially in agency land, people lose sight of that because it's about billing, it's about getting more work done. And I certainly did in my 30s when I had a young family. So I think it would be really know what work-life balance is and focus on health and fitness more. It took me a little bit longer to recognize I feel better when I work out and don't eat and drink like not supposed to. Um, and that's really hard to for people to get their head around until they're in that spot. But those would be the two things that I think I'd just, hey, you're going to work hard. That's great. But, there's a part of you outside of work that you need to take care of. And when you do that, just the whole self is more productive and you have better ideas and better thinking.
It's not the work your ass off in your 20s because in your 40s and 50s, you don't want to, it's try to be more balanced throughout the journey?
I think it's work your ass off, but also, be focused in what you're doing. So there's still boundaries, right? And don't be the guy that is, billing the most hours every year. That's like the dummy award, right? It's like get your work done and be intentional with the work and then be intentional with the after work.
Keith, so much gratitude, so much appreciation. Thank you for spending this Friday afternoon with us. It's been fantastic.
Excellent. Well, thank you, David. I appreciate the opportunity to chat. Love talking about marketing. It's super fun. Certainly, something that I do all the time. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Fantastic. This has been another exciting episode of Cultural Fluency Makers. See you next time. Thank you. That's a wrap on another episode of Cultural Fluency Makers. Thank you for joining us. Please share your comments and what you would like to hear more about. Be as specific as possible. For show notes and more, please visit culturalfluencymakers.com. This show is proudly sponsored by Collage Group, unleashing the power of cultural intelligence to fuel brand growth. Please follow Collage Group on LinkedIn, and we will see you next week.